Hello YouTube, it's Sign here with Hobbies of Man once again, and today we're doing another manga first impressions review. Today we're going to be looking at Urusei Yatsura, Omnibus 1. This covers volume 1 and 2. I'm trying to move away from the usual kind of way I do reviews. I want to focus on reviews by arc next year, and I also want to focus on first impression reviews and maybe something a little bit more video essay-esque. So I'm trying to move away from the usual kind of reviews that I would do normally. So this would normally be a review, but today is going to be a first impressions. It might be a little bit more in depth since there's 2 volumes here instead of 1. So let's get into it. This is Urusei Yatsura, like I said, and the story and art are done by Rumiko Takahashi. This is my first Rumiko Takahashi work, and she's supposed to be this amazing mangaka. So far, I don't really see it. I don't find it to be amazing. I don't find it to be bad. It's just kind of very middle of the road. But this is a shonen series. This is her first long-running serialized series. I think it released in Weekly Shonen Sunday, I think. Let me see, because I think it does say so here. But let me double check. I don't want to, misinform anyone. So let's see. Urusei Yatsura was published in Weekly Shonen Sunday. I think I said something else, but yeah, Weekly Shonen Sunday, which is a different Shueisha magazine, and that's why it's published by Viz. And the genre here is basically like sci-fi. One of the main characters is an alien, and a lot of the people that they interact with are aliens, but they're really kind of based on Japanese folklore. So it's like aliens that inspired fantasy stories, basically. Kind of like how in the Marvel universe, Thor is a science fiction alien, but the way humans saw him was like a god, kind of like similar like that. And it basically deals with this like very slice of life comedy kind of situation where this guy, Muraboshi, I think is his name, Ataru Muraboshi, gets saddled with this beautiful little alien character here called Loom, and now she basically is attached to him at the hip, and she thinks that they're married, and he kind of has to deal with that, and kind of has a bunch of stuff happening to him all the time that is really kind of insane and annoying, and like it's pretty funny, but it's not like really, really great in my opinion. It's just kind of the middle of the road. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. On one hand, I think it's a good kind of thing that I started with this book for Rumiko Takahashi, because I've had it happen to me before with authors like Brandon Sanderson, where I read their best book, and then I try to go back and read all the other books, and all their other books are not as good as the first one that I read, right? So I think it was a good idea for me to start with Urusei Yatsura, her earliest work. And then if I ever feel the desire to, I'll go check out, Meisa Nikoku and Mao and Rine and Inuyasha and stuff like that. But I don't think that I really currently have that desire, because Urusei Yatsura was enjoyable. And in fact, once the second volume started, I actually laughed a lot more than the first one. But I don't really find that her storytelling style is really something that really interests me all that much. I've said a lot that I'm not really that big of a fan of gag manga, and although this is technically more of a slice of life than a gag manga, it does have a lot of elements of like repetitive, actions. Like basically the first 2 volumes are essentially like Ataru meets a girl. He wants to, do something with the girl, and then gets roped into doing some other stuff, and then he gets, his life ruined because of that other stuff, and then everyone hates him for a minute, and then, the start of the next chapter. And this happens basically 20 times, 18 times, however many chapters are in that book, and it kind of gets boring, right? So I don't know. I'm not really sure that I like it. Now, of course, this is not the same genre as her other works, but I don't know. If I didn't like this first one, I doubt that I'll like the other ones. But I still do want to give them an opportunity. So maybe sometime next year, I'll be like, okay, it's Mason Ikoku month. Or sorry, not Mason Ikoku. That's the story. It's Rumiko Takahashi month, and I'll just buy book one of every one of her series and see if I like any of them. I'm not really sure. I don't know if it'll work. I don't know if I'll really enjoy them. But a lot of people love Inuyasha and stuff, so I want to at least give it a try. But yeah, now, is there anything else that I really want to talk about this book? Yeah, I guess. So the art style is actually pretty interesting. It's pretty classic. It's kind of post-Go Nagai, but like modern shonen, if that makes sense. It has that kind of same vibe, that same kind of old style, but it is a little bit more on the modern side of things. So I think something like Saint Seiya, or maybe I guess Saint Seiya is the best option there. But it is better than a lot of old things that we get published here in English. Like, it's better than Astro Boy and most of the Osamu Tezuka stuff in terms of artwork. It's a little bit more refined. It's pretty clearly defined, you know, what male characters are, what female characters are. And they have distinct styles. So I think her art is interesting, even if it's like pretty old school. Some people might not like that. I'm definitely one of those people that when I started out thought that if I didn't find the art to be super amazing, I wasn't going to read the story. And I've kind of moved away from that. When I started reading a lot of the Seven Seas Classic Collection, I realized that, you know, the old art style does have its own charm to it. You just kind of have to be a little bit more patient with finding it. And I think that Rumiko Takahashi's art style definitely has a lot of charm to it very early on. It's not bad by any means, but it's a bit old school. So you're going to have to get used to that, especially if you're reading like modern shonen. That is like very kind of like stylized and very kind of refined compared to these earlier kind of works here. So yeah, other than that, I don't know. The story itself is not horrible. I mean, it's pretty funny generally, and the first couple chapters are pretty good. And there's a few chapters in volume 2 that are also really, really good. But everything in between is kind of boring because it just rehashes the same thing. It's kind of very kind of similar to a sitcom in that way, where it's like, okay, I can watch one of these and enjoy it for what it is, and I can maybe watch 2 or 3 or 4 episodes of this in a row, or in this case, read 3 or 4 chapters in a row. But then I have to put it down because it's boring, and I have to come back to it later, right? It's kind of that same vibe there, that kind of like, okay, this is good, but it's not really something to sit down and like read in one go. It doesn't have enough tension and, you know, kind of like world building and stuff to really sink your teeth into. So you kind of have to take it a little bit at a time. And I think that that's not horrible. That's a pretty good, way to read. It's not necessarily a bad thing that it isn't like a battle shonen or anything like that. I'm just saying that it's not really necessarily the type of reading that I like to do. And so it's not really my favorite because of that. So I don't know. Overall, I think that it's an interesting look at an author. And I'm happy that I did it. But I don't necessarily know that I'm going to continue this anytime soon. I don't think I'm going to get rid of it. The only reason I would get rid of this volume in the next 6 months would be because I upgraded to a better version. Because this one, it's not bad, but it's cut incorrectly. And so it's like, it should have been cut down here, but it was actually cut up here. And, the spine isn't aligned correctly. Like, there's a lot of printing problems and quality control problems with this book. But the story itself isn't so bad that I want to get rid of it. It's just not so good that I want to continue to buy more of it immediately, right? It didn't grip me like something like Gleipnir or Tomo-chan or, a bunch of other rom-com comedy series that I've been reading the last year. So I don't know. I think it's okay. I don't necessarily know that I'm going to read any more of it anytime soon, but it's not horrible. I'll probably come back to it later and kind of try to get into Rumiko Takahashi because, she's one of the great mangakas of the modern era. So I think it's remiss of me to not try to at least like one of their series, right? And I'm not saying force myself to do it, but at least allow myself to experiment with their series in order to find the one that I like. So yeah, I think that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you guys think I'm correct in my analysis of Rumiko Takahashi's work in Urusei Yatsura, or if you think I'm completely off base. Let me know down in the comments, and let's get a discussion started. Let me know what you guys think. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. Really do appreciate it, and see you guys later.